Park Do-yeon arrived at the Galactic Defense Academy on a silent transport ship. The ship was small compared to the massive stations floating around it. When the doors opened, cold air rushed inside. Do-yeon stepped out slowly, carrying a single travel crate in his right hand. The arrival hall was enormous. The floor shined like glass. The ceiling was so high it looked like the sky. Beings from many planets filled the space. Some were tall like towers. Some were wide and heavy. Others moved on many legs or floated without touching the ground. Their voices echoed in strange tones. Do-yeon looked very small among them. He wore a simple uniform from Earth. It had no marks of honor, no signs of rank. His body was slim, and his height barely reached the shoulders of most other cadets. Still, his back was straight, and his steps were calm. Several alien cadets noticed him almost at once. "That one is a child," a large gray-skinned cadet said. "No," another replied. "That is a human. I heard they are fragile." Quiet laughter spread around them. Do-yeon heard the words, but he did not react. His eyes stayed forward. His grip on the crate remained steady. The crate was old and scratched. It had thick locks and small air holes on the sides. From the outside, it looked plain and unimpressive. Nothing about it suggested danger. An officer stepped forward. The officer was tall and thin with many glowing eyes. A floating screen appeared beside them. "Exchange cadets," the officer said. "Form lines by species." Do-yeon moved into the human line. There were only two others. Both looked nervous. One kept glancing around. The other stared at the floor. The officer's eyes focused on Do-yeon's crate. "What is that object?" the officer asked. "My companion," Do-yeon said. The officer paused. "A pet?" "Yes," Do-yeon answered. "Registered and approved." The officer checked the screen. "It appears small." "It is trained," Do-yeon said. More laughter followed. A tall cadet covered in hard plates leaned toward another. "The human brings a toy," he said. "This academy grows softer each cycle." Do-yeon remained silent. Inside the crate, something shifted slightly. Do-yeon tapped once on the metal. "Easy," he whispered. The movement stopped. The cadets were guided through long corridors into the living area. Doors opened with light and sound. Do-yeon's room was simple. One bed, one desk, one wide window showing space beyond. He placed the crate near the wall. "Not yet," he said softly. The crate stayed still. Later, all cadets gathered in the main training hall. This hall was even larger than the arrival area. Training platforms floated in the air. Combat zones rested behind energy fields. Screens showed warnings and rules in many languages. Instructor Yura entered the hall. She was tall and calm, with silver skin and sharp eyes. The room grew quiet. "This academy exists to prepare defenders of the galaxy," she said. "Here, size alone means nothing. Control and survival decide worth." Her gaze moved across the cadets and stopped on Do-yeon. "You," she said. "Human, step forward." Do-yeon did so. "State your name." "Park Do-yeon." "You appear physically weak," Yura said. "Why are you here?" Do-yeon met her eyes. "Because humans adapt," he said. "We survive where others fail." Some cadets laughed again. Others watched him closely. Yura nodded once. "We will test that belief. Your companion will be evaluated soon." Whispers spread through the hall. "That thing?" Someone said. "This will be amusing." That night, Do-yeon sat on the floor of his room. The lights were dim. Stars drifted past the window. He rested his hand on the crate. "They don't understand," he whispered. A slow breath answered him from inside. "They see size," Do-yeon said. "They don't see history." He leaned back against the wall. "Tomorrow, stay close to me," he said. "No matter what happens." Inside the crate, the creature shifted slightly, calm and patient. Deep within the Academy's data system, a simple file listed Doyen's companion as low risk. No warnings, no restrictions. It was a quiet mistake, one the galaxy would soon regret. Morning lights filled the training wing of the Academy. Cadets gathered in wide rows, waiting for the next evaluation. Screens floated above them, showing today's focus: companion assessment and threat response. Part Doyen stood near the back of the group. The crate rested at his feet. He kept his posture relaxed, but his attention was sharp. Around him, whispers moved like insects. "That is the human again," one cadet said. "I heard his pet is smaller than my feeding drone," another replied. Doyen did not look at them. He focused on the floor markings and waited. Instructor Yura entered with 2 assistant officers. Behind them, a wide gate opened, leading into a controlled testing zone. Energy walls shimmered softly. Inside the zone stood several empty platforms and a sealed containment pen. "Today," Yura said, "we observe how cadets manage bonded life forms under pressure. Poor control will result in failure." She looked directly at Doyen. "Human, you will go early." A ripple of excitement spread through the crowd. "Of course," Doyen said. He lifted the crate and walked forward. Each step echoed. The testing zone felt colder than the rest of the hall. "Release your companion," Yura said. Doyen placed the crate on the floor. He knelt beside it and rested one hand on the lock. "Stay calm," he said quietly. He opened the crate. The creature stepped out slowly. It was low to the ground, covered in rough fur with old scars crossing its body. Its eyes were dark and alert. It did not bare its teeth. It did not growl. It simply stood close to Doyen's leg. The hall filled with laughter. "That is it?" someone said. "It looks half-starved," another added. Instructor Yura frowned. "This is your bonded life form?" "Yes," Doyen replied. Yura circled the creature. "It shows no threat posture, no display of dominance. It is trained," Doyen said again. Yura gestured to a console. "Begin basic stress test." A loud sound burst through the hall. Lights flashed red. A mechanical drone dropped from above and slammed into the floor nearby. The creature lifted its head. Its body tensed, but it did not move. "Impressive," Yura said flatly. "It remains passive." Another sound followed. Then another. The drone moved closer. Still, the creature stayed beside Doyen. The laughter began to fade. "Advance to threat simulation," Yura ordered. The containment pen opened. A large alien predator stepped out. It had long limbs and sharp claws. Its eyes locked onto the smaller creature at once. The predator hissed. Some cadets leaned forward, excited. "Now this will end quickly," one said. Doyen felt the shift in the air. He placed his hand gently on the creature's back. "Easy," he said. The predator lunged. Before it could strike, the smaller creature moved. Not fast, not loud, just precise. In one smooth motion, it dodged, struck, and brought the larger predator down. The impact shook the floor. The predator cried out and stopped moving. The hall went silent. Doyen raised his hand. "Enough," he said. The creature released its hold and stepped back at once. Standing calmly at his side, medical drones rushed in. The larger predator was alive, but fully restrained. Instructor Yura stared at the scene. Her eyes narrowed. "What species is that?" she asked. "Earth native," Doyen said. "Apex class," murmurs spread like fire. "That was an Apex? So small?" Yura turned to her console and pulled up data. Her expression changed as she read. "This creature evolved on a high-risk world," she said slowly. "High gravity, constant predators, extreme competition." She looked at Doyen again. You brought a controlled apex predator into this academy. Yes, Doyen replied. The creature sat down. Its breathing was steady. Its eyes never left Doyen. Some cadets stepped back. Others stared in silence. Yura raised her voice. The test is not complete. The lights shifted again. The room sealed tighter. Proceed to endurance phase, she ordered. Doyen felt a knot form in his chest. This was not planned. The creature sensed it too. It stood up slowly. Stay with me, Doyen whispered. Something deep inside the testing zone moved. A heavy door began to open. Several instructors exchanged uneasy looks. Is that necessary? One asked. Yura did not answer. The door continued to rise. Doyen tightened his stance. The galaxy was about to learn that size was never the measure of danger. The heavy door finished opening. With a low sound that rolled through the testing zone, cold air spilled out from the dark space behind it. The lights dimmed, turning the room gray and tense. Cadets stopped whispering. Even the instructors stood still. Park Doyen did not move. He kept one hand close to his side and one eye on the space ahead. The creature beside him shifted its weight and lowered its head slightly. It was not afraid. It was ready. A warning tone sounded. Endurance phase active. A calm system voice said. From the dark opening. Something stepped forward. It was much larger than the first predator. Its body was long and heavy, covered in thick plates. Its mouth opened to show rows of sharp teeth. Its breath came out in clouds. The energy wall flickered as the creature tested it with a claw. Several cadets stepped back. That thing is not for training, someone whispered. Instructor Yura's jaw tightened. She looked at the control panel, then back at Doyen. Human, she said. You may withdraw your companion. Doyen shook his head slowly. If I do, he said, it will see weakness. Yura hesitated. She had expected fear. She had expected panic. Instead, she saw focus. Very well, she said. Control is your responsibility. The larger predator roared and charged the energy wall. The wall held, but only just. Cracks of light spread across it. The creature at Doyen's side did not rush forward. It waited. Doyen took a slow breath. He remembered the forests of Earth. He remembered the lessons. He bent slightly and spoke in a calm, low voice. Watch, he said. The creature's ears shifted. Its eyes never left the threat. The energy wall dropped. The large predator lunged the moment the barrier vanished. Its weight shook the floor. Its claws scraped sparks from the metal. In a flash, the smaller creature moved. It did not meet force with force. It slipped to the side, avoiding the charge by a narrow space. The larger predator crashed into a support pillar, roaring in pain and anger. The smaller creature turned at once. It struck fast and hard at joints and soft points. Each move was clean and careful. No wasted motion. No sound except breath and impact. The larger predator swung wildly. One claw came close enough to cut the air near Doyen. Doyen did not step back. Now, he said. The creature leaped. It climbed the larger body with sharp precision, locking its weight in the right place. The larger predator stumbled, then fell. The sound echoed through the hall. The smaller creature held firm. It did not kill. It pressed until the struggle stopped. Silence followed. Medical drones rushed in again. The larger predator was alive, but fully subdued. No one laughed now. The cadets stared. Some in fear. Some in awe. Instructor Yura slowly released her breath. She looked at her screen, then at Doyen. This creature shows advanced combat instinct, she said. And advanced restraint. Doyen nodded. It knows when to stop. Yura turned to the cadets. This is what control looks like. The creature released its hold and returned to Doyen's side. Its breathing was steady. It leaned lightly against his leg. Doyen knelt and placed a hand on its head. "Good," he said. The creature relaxed. A quiet spread through the hall. Fear had turned into something else. Respect. Later, in the observation room, instructors reviewed the data. Screens showed slow-motion replays, power levels, reaction times. "This creature should not exist," one assistant said. "Not under our threat scales." "It exists," Yura replied, "because humans exist." She studied Doyen's file again. "Earth," she said softly. "A world that never stops testing its people." In the living quarters that night, the mood had changed. Cadets who once mocked Doyen now avoided his eyes. Others watched him from a distance. A female cadet named Hana approached him near the corridor lights. "You were not afraid," she said. Doyen looked at her. "I was," he replied. "I just did not let it lead." She nodded slowly. "Your world must be very dangerous." Doyen gave a small smile. "It is honest." He returned to his room and placed the crate on the floor. The creature stepped inside without command. Doyen closed the door gently. As the lights dimmed, a message reached the Academy's central network. Earth's danger rating updated. It rose, and it was still not high enough. The Academy did not sleep that night. Data moved through its systems at high speed. Reports were copied, flagged, and sent to distant councils. The words "Earth Native Apex" appeared again and again. Park Doyen woke before the lights brightened. He sat on the edge of his bed and listened to the low hum of the station. The crate rested near the wall. Inside, the creature breathed slowly. Doyen stood and stretched. He opened the crate. "Come," he said. The creature stepped out and followed him as he walked into the corridor. Heads turned as they passed. Cadets stopped talking. Some moved aside to give him space. In the main hall, Instructor Yura waited with several officers. Their posture was formal. "Human Cadet Park Doyen," Yura said. "You are requested for review." Doyen nodded. "Understood." They walked together through secure doors into a high-level chamber. The room was round, with a wide table and floating screens. Several senior figures appeared as glowing images. Their shapes were large and distant. "State the nature of the bonded life form," one voice said. Du Yun spoke calmly. "It is an Earth predator, wild by nature, trained by trust. Why bring such a creature here?" Another asked. "Because humans do not face danger alone," Doyen replied. "We learn to live with it." The figures exchanged quiet signals. "You understand the risk," the first voice said. "Yes," Doyen said. "So does my companion." A screen showed numbers and charts. Earth's gravity, climate shifts, predator density, survival rates. "One world," a voice said, "should not produce this many threats." Doyen looked at the screen. "Earth does not care what should be," he said. "It only asks who can adapt." The review ended without punishment. Instead, new orders followed. "Your companion will remain under observation," Yura said. "You will lead a mixed-species field exercise." Whispers followed them out of the chamber. The field exercise took place in a simulated environment. Forest terrain, low light, hidden dangers. Teams were formed quickly. Doyen was placed at the front. Some cadets looked uneasy. "I will follow your commands," Hana said quietly. Others stayed silent but ready. The exercise began with a sudden alarm. Shapes moved between the trees. The air smelled sharp and cold. Doyen raised a hand. "Stay close," he said. The creature moved ahead, slow and alert. It did not rush. It watched. A trap triggered near the rear. A cadet cried out as the ground gave way. Doyen reacted at once. "Hold position," he said. The creature ran, light and fast. It reached the trapped cadet and used its weight to anchor a line. The cadet was pulled free. The team moved again. More threats appeared. Mechanical predators. Energy snares. Each time, Doyon guided the team with short, clear commands. Each time, the creature responded with perfect timing. The observers watched in silence. This is coordination, Yura said, not dominance. The final threat emerged near the edge of the zone. A heavy machine designed to overwhelm groups. Doyon did not charge. Circle, he said. The team moved. The machine turned, confused. The creature struck at exposed joints, then retreated. Again and again. When the machine fell, the exercise ended. The field lights rose. The cadets stood breathing hard. No one was injured. Later, messages spread beyond the academy. Military analysts reviewed the footage. Science councils debated classifications. A new term appeared in reports: human-linked threat. That evening, Doyon sat by the window in his room. Stars drifted past. Hannah stood nearby. "They are afraid now," she said. Doyon shook his head. "They are learning." The creature rested with its head on its paws. Calm, watchful, across the galaxy. Earth's profile changed again. Not because of its weapons, but because of what walked beside its people. The news spread far beyond the academy. Ships carried reports to trade hubs, military worlds, and quiet research stations. Everywhere, the same question appeared. How could a small human and a small animal change so much? Doyon felt the change in small ways. Doors opened faster. Conversations stopped when he passed. Some beings bowed their heads. Others simply watched from a safe distance. He did not enjoy the attention. On the final evaluation day, all cadets gathered in the Great Hall again. This time, no one laughed. The air felt heavy and careful. Instructor Yura stood at the center platform. "Cadets," she said, "today we conclude this cycle. Performance has been recorded. Lessons have been learned." Her eyes moved to Dawn. Some lessons were unexpected. A large screen activated. Footage from the trials played again. The first fight. The endurance test. The field exercise. Each clip showed the same thing: calm, control, trust. "Human Cadet Park Doyon," Yura said. "Step forward." Doyon obeyed. The creature walked beside him. "You were underestimated," Yura continued. "Not because of failure, but because of appearance." She turned to the hall. "Let this be remembered. Danger does not always announce itself." Silence followed. A senior council member appeared on the screen. Its voice was deep and slow. "Human," it said, "your presence has altered our assessments. Earth is now classified as a high survival world." Murmurs spread. Doyon said nothing. "You and your companion will return to your people with this message." The voice continued. "The galaxy will approach Earth with caution and respect." The screen went dark. Later, in the docking bay, ships prepared for departure. Doyon stood beside his transport. The creature rested near his feet. Hannah approached him one last time. "Will you return?" she asked. "Maybe," Doyon said. "If there is more to learn." She nodded. "You changed how we see strength." Doyon smiled faintly. "Strength was always here. You just did not look for it." The boarding call sounded. Doyon knelt and opened the crate. The creature stepped inside without hesitation. He secured the lock. As the ship lifted away from the academy, the station grew smaller. Stars filled the view once more. Across the galaxy, databases updated. Training manuals changed. New warnings were added. Do not judge by size. Do not judge by silence. On Earth, the ship landed in a quiet field. Trees moved in the wind. The air was warm and alive. Doyon stepped out and opened the crate. The creature stretched and sniffed the ground. It was home. Doyon looked at the sky. Somewhere out there, the galaxy watched his world with new eyes. He placed a hand on the creature's head. We did. Good, he said. The creature leaned into his touch. Humanity did not conquer the stars by being the strongest. They survived them by understanding danger. And by choosing to walk beside it.